Hi everyone, this is Carlos Wante, back for another Creature Talk. This is It Creature Talk Addendum. Uh, I discovered a bunch of drawings that didn't make it into the original talk, which was posted a little over a week ago here. And there were enough drawings that didn't make it into that talk that it warranted this addendum because a lot of these drawings were important to the process. Um, and aspects of the character that I actually explored. And now with the whole series being announced, uh, I thought this is a good time to talk about all this stuff. Um, Maybe some of this will make it in. Who knows? Um, there's a TV series I think they announced, um, and I'm not too sure if it's going to be what it's going to be on, what platform. I won't even mention any platforms because I have no idea where it's going to go. But anyway, so this this is going to open up with about maybe 6 pages here of the original drawings that I had started prior to working in a sketchbook. They're all loose leaf drawings, uh, and this was in the interim between me speaking to initially to the effects liaison and waiting to speak to Andy, the director. And so I spent time exploring, and this was like the first week, uh, exploring the deadlights, open mouth, you know, how I was going to open that mouth and all that sort of thing. Um, and also trying to find the style of the character, right? I mean, because I mean, regardless, I mean, the character is going to be in. It was going to interact with real people, so we know it's going to be real, right? But how far over into the crazy I didn't know yet, right? I had no idea how far into the crazy I was going to go, um, and how zany or um, how horrific, right? Um, what the tone of this character, uh, and these drawings kind of set it up for me because I got a good reaction and a good response from the director when we finally spoke, and then just continued on. And it was essentially the only time I spoke to the director while I worked on this first um, version of It Chapter 1. Um, and again, I'll just go over this again. I mean, I already went over um, it uh, in the first talk that I gave here, Creature Talk, which I posted a little over a week ago. Um, and what I said there is that I wasn't as excited about the project because I mean, I only had the TV show, right, as my reference. And clowns were not a big thing for me. I wasn't very excited about drawing clowns. Uh, but working with Andy, we had just attempted to uh, to design a version of the Mummy before they made the Tom Cruise one, right? And Andy's version of the Mummy would have taken it back to horror and out of this action adventure um, cartoon thing that they keep on making out of the Mummy. Uh, anyway, I mean, it's interesting because I've worked on all of them. And as I worked on them, I knew what I was working on. And they tried to tell me that the Tom Cruise one was going to be completely different and far better than the others, um, or not far better, but it was going to be different. They were going to finally do something really more along the lines of what a mummy movie should be, and it was exactly the same. I mean, interesting that they chose the girl. I like that idea, and I like the actress that they picked, or the model, really. She was really interesting. I thought, okay, if you're going to go there, that's interesting because she's really interesting. Um, but then the movie was never really about her character, it was about Tom Cruise. So I didn't understand why they called it The Mummy. They should have called it League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Part Two or something, because it had nothing to do with the Mummy really. Um, but anyway, a little side rant there. Um, for me to talk about a good experience that I had about um, with Andy on that version of the Mummy, and because of that, I was excited to work on this, to work with him again, um, and on a whole project because that one we just kind of we met each other, we worked, maybe a week, and then it was over, right? Um, so this one movie was everything that I never could have expected it to be because it was one of the best situations I've ever been involved with. I mean, as far as process and me working on a movie and the client just letting me go. And he was fantastic that way. Literally, we spoke once. And it's not that I didn't want to speak to him anymore because he's a really fun guy to talk to. But we didn't need to. He just let me go. So here we go. Let's get into these first 6 pages of me trying to find the tone and how to approach this open maw um, with this character. And one of the things that Andy was kind of, and through the liaison, is that the great white shark eye rolling back was a thing that he kind of liked, and he kept on referencing. So I added some kind of a version of that here, and then started exploring the character and trying to figure out uh, how crazy this character was going to get, or how it was going to appear, right, in certain scenes. Uh, One of the things, though, that I hadn't seen anything other than a little thumbnail that Andy had drawn of the makeup, so I hadn't seen anything yet. At this point, I was just drawing, uh, using that as my reference to what it was going to look like, which it ended up looking pretty much like that. They just, you know, his little line drawing was pretty much what they ended up with in the makeup. And here I am trying to figure out how that maw is going to open and then look scary and what the character was going to become when it morphs from that clown into this crazy looking monster man thing. But trying to keep to see how this kid looking character, because it looked like a child really with the proportions, right? Um, this one I actually toyed with the idea that these in each tooth had was individual or hooked to an individual finger-like bone structure, right? So at the tip, it had these, retractable type of claws that were teeth, which I thought would have been pretty cool because each one of these could operate independently of each other, and so you'd have a bunch of like moving fingers, right? Um, I thought that would have been interesting, and I wanted that for the collar as well. That's something I tried for a character that was never, or actually it was eliminated from Covenant. Actually, for David was going to have um, a bunch of meerkat type of characters that looked benign until they went into action, and then they would reveal that they were these land piranha type of creatures, and I wanted their teeth to be something like this, but the idea wasn't used, so it really applied to this character. I thought, and I thought this still think that this would have been a really neat idea, and I still think they should use it. And maybe in the TV series, if I work on it, that will be a thing. Um, Here I have the face actually just being pushed back, and you can see it just, it's, anchoring right here, so it's wrinkling right here behind, the brow, and the mask of the face goes flat. Uh, I like this actually a lot. I think this is pretty neat. I like how this just pushes up into the nose here. Um, and this one was getting closer to what they were talking about. Still not there, but the idea, right? I still left the eyes in this one, um, and the eye holes probably would have been here somewhere, uh, fitted in these line wrinkles here. So then I changed my direction and started drawing in a sketchbook. And I explained all this in the first, and why I did all this. It's all in the first Creature Talk, which I posted last week, or about 2 weeks ago now. And why I switched from drawing in blue and I decided to go into drawing in black and white in a sketchbook. So you could get all that over there, so I don't take up a lot of time here. Um, anyway, here we go. So I started drawing in the sketchbook, and this is actually one of the first drawings I did, trying to, again, find the tone of the character, maybe reveal that this character was really cursed, or it was something else, right? Um, just that reveal that it's not this happy-looking clown, and that just flash moment when you see its death. Um, and Another reveal here, um, which I thought this would have been interesting if he was the clown facing the characters, and then his face just goes back. And this is the escalation of his reveal, right? So first they see him as a clown and they're wondering, you know, and well, what is that character? And he's talking kind of funny, weird little things happen around him, like him dancing in the air, right? Uh, and then the reveal would get darker and darker as it went through the movie, right? And this would be one of them, one of those reveals. Um, and this is a version of the character I thought would have been really interesting if we had gone here. And if they hire me to do any work on the TV series, which I don't know if they will, but if they do, I will bring this up as something that I would hope that they would do, because you can shoot this in sections and get really, really interesting areas that no one will know what the heck is going on, right? Um, but this version of the character is a way for me to show off how this character would mock their childhood, right? Their kids, and so he would mock them by having these balloon animal type of things, balloons coming off his body, but then all these limbs would show that he's just this screwed up creature, and all this would be flesh colored, right? My idea was that the red uh, in the character would actually be blood, right? It wouldn't be paint. Um, so this is a pretty horrific character. I I, I think that this thing would have been really interesting, and I really hope that they do come back to using this one. Um, Along that same line, uh, this character, this is a version of where the character, the corrugated kind of costume, right? Uh, that it can extend its limbs, and then areas where the character could kind of position itself and the head could come out of any one of these seams. Well, in this one, I have the costume actually blending back into the flesh of this character, and then the flesh actually uh, it's more like the cloth actually, because this is it could be cloth like right here in this area that it pushes out, but then become flesh almost immediately. So there's this kind of area of where they are mixed, the flesh and cloth, and the cloth will bend. I mean, the flesh will kind of wrinkle like cloth, right? So the flesh will wrinkle like cloth, um, and you can see it stretching around. I mean, not unlike leather, right? But I wanted it to feel even more like this cloth right here. And then, I mean, this is its backside, right? So you can wonder what that hand is. And, out of its backside, this head would come out. I mean, he's mocking, right? And he's completely uh, perverse. This character is blowing balloons out of its orifices. It's a disgusting character. Um, so I was really pushing that. Um, this is now almost a different tone than that balloon blowing character, right? In this, and this is more along the lines, say, of what this is, but this one's kind of like got both in it, right? The balloons and the weird cloth horror um, character, which uh, I don't know. There's something about the way that the cloth would feel like abstractly like flesh, and some of the texture could feel almost like bone, even though uh, it's cloth and it's very light, right? Maybe like a heavy cloth, even. So maybe not so light. But here it would be pretty light in the way that it ribbons off. Um, there's something very abstract and cool about this that I thought would be pretty neat. And I just had the vision in my head of this image that I felt like drawing and abstractly felt something that felt right for the character. That this is what the character is, this is who this character is. Um, rather than going so Tim Burton you know what I mean? Which I love, right? I love all the Tim Burton stuff and how he plays with cartoon characters and the gothic and the horror, right? Um, I love all that. I think that's great. But I was trying to find something else, right? Something with a little bit more serious of a tone to it, still with this clown, right? I mean, there's a lot of clowns that have been done, um, and uh, the thing about clowns is that they can go corny, right? Uh, the one that they used in Spawn was pretty identical to the comic book in many ways. I thought they did a good job, cast well with Leguizamo, um, and I love Tim Curry. But again, I wasn't a fan of the TV show. It was Saturday morning. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was like one of those afternoon specials type of things. Um, so again, so I was trying to find a little bit more serious tone for this, so we could, you know, really make sure that we were far from that corny factor, right? Um, and that's what all these drawings I'm trying to get really go into this side of horror and find that um, combination of Warner Brothers and The Thing, right? Um, and that's what the idea was, anyways. I mean, I leaned more towards the horror. The effects liaison was trying to push me more towards the Warner Brothers as as far as ideas go. I mean, he was trying to really pull me back into this whole Warner Brothers thing, and I didn't want to go there too much. I get why he wanted to go there, uh, but I thought that would still be too cartoony for me. I like the horror aspect far better, and you can see what I did with the sketch here. Um, just the idea of the amorphous head, right, and the fact that there were no joints in this character with this type of costume, right, and uh, any part of the body of this character could turn into something else, and it could stretch, extend all over the place. The limbs were, all the flesh parts were amorphous. Uh, could have been pretty cool if we had gone this far, right? I still think the first movie is great. You know what I mean? A classic monster opening, honestly, right up there, in my opinion, with any of the classic monsters from the 30s and the creature from the Black Lagoon, is that nailed opening sequence with the clown in the gutter tempting Georgie. It was phenomenal opening. Um, with the rain and the blood washing, the rain washing down the blood of the kid is really, really screwed up and weird, and really, really screwed up. So I had done one of this um, character, mimicking the painting, the Spanish painter, um, and the I didn't really have to do much on this. This is really based on how flat that Madagliani, I think is how I say his name, how his paintings are really flat, and I didn't really have much to do with this character because it was going to be what it was. They found an actress actually for this who looked pretty close to this. Believe it or not, she's phenomenal, um, and they loved her, which was, I mean, she really looked the part already, so there wasn't much to do for this. So I went back to this, and this is for the end creature with the character literally vomiting these concentric circles of flesh, kind of rolling off, and it's desperately trying to find some sort of configuration, uh, but it knows it's over, and it's about to be thrown into the well um, in the gutter there. Um, and here he is, as he's exhausted, and he's just got limbs everywhere, and he's right in front of the that big well hole, which would have been about right here. Right? And that's when they push him down the hole. And this is a version of that character now, where his face is no longer there, and this is the opening orifice, where all of that stuff is just rolling out. It's vomiting out, and these moving circles of mimicry of it trying to find something, or it's not unlike like I said in the first talk. It's like a cuttlefish or a giant squid, where they're flashing colors as they're threatened. Well, this guy's flashing shapes and volumes, and they're just regurgitating from its innards, uh, coming out, then coming back in, and regurgitating constantly, just flowing. I mean, look at his hand here. That's the hand, one of them, anyways. And here's the other arm being thrown out here, and these are all the fingers and the arms. Uh, and then these are now the other arms where you wouldn't know what is really happening, but it's in some sort of dog-like pose here on all fours, right? This one's on knee right here, but it's got like three hands here, right? It's just total chaos as it's trying to kind of, secure itself and trying to scare the kids still, but it's over. And this one was, yep, I think I had this in the first, so, but he made it back in, I guess, again. Here you can see the tassels are eyeballs, right? This was a little sketch I did in my little sketchbook. All these are actually, these are all. And that's it. There's a talk opening for it too. I won't get into that one here. This was just the addendum for it, chapter 1, going all over all the images here that didn't make it into that first talk. Anyway, I hope you guys liked it. The views are pretty low, so I don't know how long I'm going to continue with this. Um, but I'm glad that I have as many people that like it. The few that are here, I appreciate. So let me know if you like this, and if you guys want to follow my work on Instagram, I'm there. Uh, and there it is. Thank you.